Sara and Matt, thank you so much for being here today. So I want to hear about your heart story together. How did
Okay.
you meet, and did you know, Matt, that Sara had heart disease?
Yeah, no, we met in college. We were going into our senior year, ended up dating all of our senior year. I found out, during that time that she had a heart disease, but it wasn't anything that was really overly concerning to me. You're younger, you don't really think about what is to come down the road. But beyond that, I just kind of fell in love with her. So it was one of those things where you're not, that doesn't come into your head. It's not something you
Well,
kind of,
especially as a 23-year-old
right.
guy. I mean, you're just not.
That's true. So it's, it was one of those things that was there, but it was never like what defined her. It was just part of her. And so that was, I fell in love with who she was, and it wasn't, I fell in love with this girl that has a heart defect.
So how long ago was that?
We're going to age ourselves, 25 years ago. So yeah.
So at what stage then did it click, and did you realize, oh my gosh, I'm in love with this woman, but she has heart disease and this is serious?
Yeah, I think, it wasn't really that, at the forefront until we started talking about having a family and how that was something that she probably would not be able to do, to have kids. But it was one of those things where it was like, I'm going to take the good with the bad. If we want a family, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
There's ways around it. And we actually did. We had a surrogate and have a great 17-year-old son now. He's an amazing kid.
Yeah, to interrupt you, I would say Matt was incredible during that time, because growing up, I was told at a very young age I couldn't have children. And so it was never in my mind. I didn't even think I was going to get married or have kids. I just kind of shut that part out of my life. And then with Matt, when I told him I couldn't have kids, it was the sweetest. We were in college, and he left and came back like the next day, and I hadn't heard from him in a day, and it was kind of like before cell phones a little bit. And he came back and he had brought me a bracelet, and he was like, we'll figure it out. I choose you. And then years later, we obviously had that conversation.
She was worried that I was taken off, but no, I wanted to do something nice for her.
Yeah.
Show her that, that I understand what she's going through somewhat. I obviously can't fully understand, but it's okay. It's not an issue for me. We'll figure it out.
In that moment of Sara suffering the stroke and you taking on the role of a caregiver for her, do you have any advice for any other caregivers or spouses or partners?
I think it comes down to you just kind of get into, it's not survival mode, but just kind of take care of what you can take care of. The outside issues of her heart and all of that, it's just a medical situation she's going through. You just need to be there, do the blocking and tackling, and get done what you can get done and what you can control.
So the role of a caregiver can be challenging. Do you see yourself as a caregiver to Sara?
I see myself as a husband.
Yeah.
Right? I see myself as taking care of my wife.
Right.
I'm just looking to be there for her in any capacity I could, irregardless of the situation, regardless of what's going on with her, what's happening with her health. I just want to be there for her.
What I've come to realize is that caregivers sometimes take on more responsibility than the patients themselves. So how has it been for you to be a caregiver? Because I know 7 years ago, Sara had a stroke. So can you tell me a little bit about that role that you might have had to take on of being a caregiver?
Yeah, life happens, right? Something bad could happen to me tomorrow. Something bad could happen to her tomorrow. So we try and live in the moment and not really think too much ahead of what challenges we might have. But you care for the person. It's the person you fell in love with. And all you really want to do is just take care of her, make sure she's comfortable. But it's also not to make it so that the heart condition and what's going on with her is all encompassing and fully defining who she is. She's her own person. That's just a part of who she is.
But the stroke, during the stroke, that was a hard time for us because I felt like a burden. I felt like a burden because I hadn't been up to this point, because I hadn't had any major heart issues up until 40, really. So you didn't really know, you only knew one version of me, right? In that sense. But I mean, I just knew that like his love for me was unconditional, as mine is for him.
And it wasn't a burden. It was more a blessing that I had the opportunity to take care of her, that she could count on me and I could be there for her as that support. it kind of makes you think about what's going to happen in the future, but then you kind of just reel back and say, I'm going to enjoy this person now, enjoy who she is. I'm going to do whatever I can to make her comfortable, make her life easier.
I have to say, this really, it's how his parents are. Wow. He learned from his parents. This really is authentic Matt. This is who he is. He really feels it the way. But I know that you get worried sometimes. Like I had a really bad headache last night, and he's like, should we go to the doctor? Because it was like really bad.
Well, it's always one of those things where you don't, a health concern that would be minor to most people, you have to sit back and think, okay, well, is this something that we need to take care of? Is it something more serious? Like she said, she had a migraine last night. And, I wouldn't have thought anything differently of it, except, she had a stroke. Right. And that stuff always creeps into your head. Mm-hmm. But again, it's just, what can I do? Can I help her out in this situation?
I found sometimes with caregivers, it's like you guys bottle everything up inside because you're trying to be of service.
Again, not really. It's one of those things where she's my wife. I want to make sure she's doing well. The outside world can react how they want to react. I don't, unfortunately for her, I don't bottle up as much as I probably should bottle up. But I have my own health issues, and she's been there for me. We have other issues, personal, professional, whatever it is. And we have a marriage where we can just talk to each other. And it's not like, again, like I'm talking to a heart patient, I'm talking to my wife, and, let the outside world think what they may, but we just live our lives one foot in front of the other.
So I've coined this phrase, Heartquake, which is trauma of the heart.
I love it.
And Heartquake came, when you were a baby, diagnosed with a congenital heart disease, when you suffered your stroke. Mm-hmm. And now this Heartquake of you guys having lost your home in the Palisades fire. Now I'm wondering, having been through these different Heartquakes, do you feel that you're a bit more prepared in having lost your home versus someone else who hasn't really been through as many really intense traumas of the heart?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely taught you to kind of one foot in front of the other, right? You can't look 10 years down the road and say, what's going to happen 10 years down the road? So you reel it back and you say, okay, well, here we are today. We've got this 3-person family unit. We're doing fine. Yes, we're going through a traumatic situation, but we've done it before and we can continue to do it again.
For me, I can speak for, I'm devastated for the loss of the community, and all of our friends are displaced, and obviously, our home and the financial implications, all of that. But I really think at the end of the day, it's like that coin term, but we have our health.
Yeah.
And we have each other. It's again, the health stuff aside, you're a partnership and a family unit, and you don't think about that all the time. It's not at the forefront when you just are trying to manage and figure out what you're going to do going forward.
It's beautiful because I think Heartquake can either bring you together, or it can drive you apart.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you guys have a solid partnership based on a solid foundation.
Yeah.
Yes. And I can see that with the fires, how it could bring, I mean, there's a lot
We've
of stress.
already seen it. Like, people are stressed, and if you don't have a good foundation, and I mean to cut you off, I'm sorry.
No.
If you don't have a good foundation, it can cause friction. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sara created HeartSnug. Now tell me about HeartSnug. What is it?
So HeartSnug is a medical disposable bra, essentially. It's just a garment that women can wear underneath their traditional gown at any doctor's appointment, stress tests, EKG, echogram, and it provides patient privacy. That's really why we created it. We just wanted women to have a little bit more comfort and dignity in their medical experiences. Amazing. So we're 4 years in. It's been exciting, and we will be in some of the larger hospitals. So it's exciting.
Thanks for watching Heartquake Media. Make sure you check out our website and social media for more information on heart healthy living. And remember, wellness starts with the heart.